A JavaScript variable is basically like this freezer. That doesn't make sense, does it? Well, it does, because a JavaScript variable performs the same function this freezer does. So what's this function? That is storing things. A JavaScript variable is just a container for storing things. These things are referred to as data. And what are examples of this data? We're talking numbers, letters, words, symbols, and so on. We'll talk more about data types in our upcoming videos. So now that we know what variables are, let's check out how they are created. Just like how freezers are created using several machines, a variable can be created using three keywords, which are var, let, and const. So how do we use these keywords? That's easy. Just type in the keyword and the name you like to call your variable. Let's move to our code editor and see how it actually works. The first thing we'll do is open up a folder and create our index.html and app.js file. I'll assume you already know how an index.html file, and the only thing I'll be teaching here is how you link JavaScript file to your index.html file, which is easy. All you have to do is go into the body tag and add another tag called the script tag. Right next to the script, inside the open tag, you just add in source and put in the URL of your JavaScript file. For me, since they are in the same directory, all I have to do is just type in app.js, and just like that, you've linked your index.html to your JavaScript file. Now I'm going to click on my go live extension because it allows me to see changes made to my files just by pressing Ctrl Save. Now let's create a variable called food, because that's my favorite thing. All you have to do is just pick any of the keywords. I'll tell you how you know which keyword to use later in the video, but for now, let's just pick any of the keywords you like. Let's say let, for example. Now all I have to do is just type in let and then the name of the keyword, which in this case is called food. So now that I've created this container called food, it has been created by JavaScript. We have nothing inside. For now, we have just like an empty freezer. If I would like to store something inside, all I have to do is just add an equal sign and store in whatever you like. But since we haven't talked about data types, this might be a little confusing. If you want to store strings or long words or even letters inside a variable, you have to put them in double quotation marks. This is some of JavaScript's data type rule. We'll talk about this in an upcoming video, but for now, just know you have to put in a double quotation mark, and then inside the quotation mark, you're going to type in whatever you want. So what food are we talking about? Let's say rice, because like that's the basic food out there. And just like that, we've created our first variable. That's nice, isn't it? Now how do we check what's inside the variable? How do I know my data has been stored inside this container? We use this particular keyword to check what's inside our container, and that's console.log and open the bracket. This is a function, but since we don't know what function is yet, let's just stick to cramming this for now. We'll get to understand it better later. So just type in console.log and open bracket. Inside the bracket, all you have to do is call the name of your variable. And what did you name our variable? Food. That's right. So just type in food. We'll press Ctrl Save and then go to our browser and open this up. To check the console in the browser, you have to press Ctrl Shift and I, and this will open up your console. And right here you can see rice. That means that is what we stored inside our variable. By now you must be wondering how you would know which keyword to use. Should you use var, let, or const? Now I'm going to be differentiating the three. Let's start with let. So the let keyword allows you to change the content stored in the variable you created with it. Just like our freezer is created such that we can replace things stored in it, such as our groceries, variables created using the let keyword allows you, the developer, to change the values in it. For example, our food variable, we use the let keyword to create a variable and store the value rice inside. If I decide I don't want to store rice inside this variable again, I want to store beans, all I have to do is just call that variable again. What's the name? That's food. And then the equal to sign and store the new value. Remember to store the string or a word inside double quotation mark. So I just call this beans. So I should console log this again. And there's one more thing you have to know. JavaScript compiles your variable line by line. So it starts from this line 1, move to line 2 since there's nothing there, then move to line 3, performs whatever command is in line 3, which is console.log the food container. And at this point, what is inside food variable? that's rice, so it's going to console log rice here. And then move to the next one. It sees that number 4, it says that you've changed the value inside your container, which means you've replaced it with beans. Moves to 5 since there's nothing there, and then move to 6 and performs that command, which is logging the new value inside our food variable. So if you check our browser, we'll have 2 console logs, which is rice and then beans. You can do this as many times as you want. You can decide here again to change it to egg, whatever you want. If I should console log this again, what do you think the value is going to be? Egg, of course. That's correct. That's what the let keyword is used for. It allows you to change the value. If you notice, I didn't call let again in front of the variables. If I should do that, that means I am creating another container. Once I had another keyword, I'm creating another container with that name, which is unacceptable because the let keyword will not allow you to have 2 variables with the same name in the same scope. You don't know what scope is. We'll talk about scope after we learn about functions, but for now, you don't know what function is. You are not using function yet. Just know that you can have the same variable of the same name. So if I should put let in front of this, you're going to see an error. Cannot declare block scope variable food. So that means you can't declare the same variable using that let keyword with the same name. But if I should change the name, now I have 2 separate keywords. Even if I should change this, just change this to caps. Variable names are case sensitive. So this food here with all small letter is not the same with one with the capital letter first. And it's definitely not the same with this one. So that's why you have to be careful when creating your variables and when naming your variables. Don't make those kind of mistakes. Now let's go back to our... Okay, so now that we know how the let keyword works, let's move to const. Const just stands for constant. So if you use const to create a keyword, if I should change this to const, you're going to see a bunch of errors. If I should check the browser, you'll see an error there. Can you see uncaught type error, assignment to constant variable? So that's what const stands for. It's a constant variable. Once you create a variable with the const keyword, you can't change the value inside. Let allows you to change, but const will not allow you to change. Is the initial value, is going to stick to just the initial value, so you can't have this. So that's the difference between const and let. And also both of them will not allow you to have a variable with the same name. So you can't have const food again. She's going to give you an error. Even if you say fine, you don't want to use const, let me use let to create this keyword. You see, it's still giving you the error because they have the same name. So if you use const or let to create a particular variable, that variable name cannot be reused again. You have to change it, especially if they are in the same scope. The current scope now, we call it the global scope. We'll learn more about scopes later. Now for the last keyword, which is the var keyword, if I should change this to var, this keyword works just like the let keyword. It allows you to change the value inside. So I can change the value inside food back to egg, and when I console log it, I get rice and then egg. So it works like the let keyword, but the only difference is one, it is old, and also you can create another variable with the same name. So if I should say var and I should call it food, can you see there's no error here? Even if I should save this, it's still giving rice and egg. So it allows you to create another variable with the same exact name, which is going to be an error because as a developer, you can't always remember what you named all your variables. And if I should name a particular variable here, I've called it food already, and then I moved down, but I forgot I named this food, I name it food again. It's just going to overwrite the previous one that I've created, and that's going to cause a lot of errors. It's going to cause hours of debugging, which is why developers nowadays do not advise you to use var. Just don't use it. Just stick with let and const. So that's the issue with var, and I don't advise you use it, but you have to know it because what if they ask you in an interview? So now before we wrap up today's video, there's one more concept you need to know, and this is hoisting. Hoisting is basically a fancy name that means move to the top. So this is how it works. JavaScript reads your code from the top to the bottom. Like I said previously, from one, it moves line by line. But when it compiles the code, it secretly moves the variable declarations to the top. Like I said secretly, which means you cannot visibly see it rearranging your code. No, if you put a particular variable here and you write a bunch of code, declare another variable here, write a bunch of code, declare another variable. When it starts compiling, like running your code, it will secretly take them to the top of the file, which is this top part here, before running the code completely. So what I said variable declaration. And why did I say variable declaration? It's just going to take this aspect where you put the keyword and then the name of the variable. It will take whatever you stored in the variable with you. If I should put console log, if I should console.log food, I'm console.log food here, but food was created at line 3. So if I should console log this, two possible things can happen. If I should save this right now, I could either get an error or I get the value undefined, depending on which keyword I use. Like now, I use var keyword, I would get an undefined, which means you haven't added a value yet, you haven't created it yet, but it is somewhere in your code. So that's for var, it will give you undefined. But for let and const, it gives you an error, letting you know that you haven't declared that variable yet. So I should save this. I have undefined, and then it moves to where the console logs are. But if I should change it to let, it's going to give an error, cannot access food before initialization. So you haven't even created it yet, you cannot access it. So that's one of the other advantages of let and const. It saves you hours of debugging. So now that we know all about variables, let's move to the next thing. So what's that? Find out in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. See you later. Bye.